What's up, everybody? This is Josh coming to you with another episode of the Affiliate Marketing Show. Please be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest affiliate marketing news, tips, and trends. Once again, I'm Josh, also from OfferVault.com, the industry's largest aggregator of all things affiliate marketing. Whether you're looking for affiliate networks, direct advertisers, affiliate offers, affiliate programs, advertising networks, etc., etc., we got you covered. Make sure you check out OfferVault.com. And once again, we're bringing back our old friends from Crack Revenue. This episode is sponsored by Crack Revenue, the leader in the adult industry with over 15 years of experience, specializing in verticals like cams, dating, health, OnlyFans, models, and more. Crack Revenue offers the best payouts, especially on cam offers. They meticulously test everything with their internal media buying team before making it available to their affiliates, ensuring top-notch quality. We all know how important that is, right? With thousands of flows and creatives, a dedicated affiliate manager, and a robust support team, Crack Revenue is your go-to for maximizing your earnings. And guess what, guys? The announcements don't stop there. We got some exciting news. Crack Revenue has launched a new feature as part of their achievement program, gamification with a streak system. Now, listen carefully. Log in weekly to keep your streak alive and gain access to more offers, tools, promotions, and opportunities to boost your income. Plus, sign up with the exclusive link in the description and receive, yep, you guessed it, once again, a 15% bonus on your first commission. Crack Revenue is committed to providing the most advanced features, tools, and solutions to help you achieve unparalleled success. Don't miss out. Join Crack Revenue today. We love Crack Revenue. What's up, Crack Revenue? We also got our industry legend in the house, Harrison Gevirtz, as well as our special guest today, Nadim Kuttab, co-founder of Zevio.ai, where native advertising stands next to social and Google search for cold user acquisition, not behind it. What is up, Nadim? How are we doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you very much, Josh. Thanks for having me. And Harrison, nice to see you.
Welcome to the show, man.
Appreciate you coming on. We're going to do a deep dive into native advertising. I know you got a lot of good insights to share with us and our audience. So I really kind of want to start with an umbrella overview question here. Can you do us a favor and kind of give us just a brief summary real quick of, what is native advertising, and in short, like, how does it work?
Sure. I've been doing this the last 7.5 years. Native ads are typically below the feed on articles. So they call it the open web. It's when you're browsing online on sites you don't have to pay for. Then you typically are the product, and the service being offered to you is advertising. Google made a lot of money with display, but it's very obvious these ads are ads. There'll be the flashy banners that are all over the place, and then native ads came along and kind of snuck in a little bit more subtle advertising that packs a much bigger punch. Native ads don't look like ads. It's a bit like, if you're on YouTube and you're being served different videos and suddenly there's a video that looks like an organic piece of content, but is actually a sponsored piece of content. Sure, there'll be in a label, advertorial, or advertiser or advertising, but native ads aren't meant to look like ads. And that gives them an incredibly valuable spot in performance marketing specifically because they can really drive extremely valuable clicks to partners, to sites, and they can build demand where there isn't any. So typically, we use native ads to generate demand for a product or a service from a very, very broad and cold audience.
And do you feel like, go ahead, Harrison.
Say, Josh, the example that I would use is if you're ever on like a news site in the US and you're looking at an article and at the bottom there's like some like images with text that almost look like they're part of the website, but they're like promoting a product or a service or something like that. Those are native ads, and
exactly.
They clearly can convert extremely well when you're building your campaigns properly, because the users, I would say, give native ads maybe a further sense of trust versus like just a 728 by 90 banner on the header.
I always say people are reading when they're browsing, a site like CNN. They're reading an article, they're reading current events, gossip, news, finance, doesn't matter. And you'll be able to reach those people in an environment that they're already reading and serve them more stuff to read. And so you'll typically see, if you do it right, really, really good landing page CTRs. People will read something like 500 to 1,000 words, and 20 to 30% of them, if you're good, will click through to your offer page, which is crazy. I mean, that's a really high engagement. Our average time on page in the US is almost 2.5 minutes per, like the average time on our landing page. It's crazy.
I'm sure people that are like, deep into this industry, they're very well aware of native ads, but is there a part of the industry, maybe newcomers that are tending to overlook, this specific channel, or do you feel like that's not really the case?
I feel like native advertising isn't particularly newcomer friendly. And a lot of people that start on native will fail because they do what everybody else does, which means that they're going to be below everybody else on the feed. They're going to be paying for poor visibility placements on very long ad feeds, and it's just not going to convert. Um, Native advertising requires a certain amount of budget and focus. So if you want to start on native ads, first of all, be prepared to learn. Do your research before you start. Don't copy what everybody else is doing. Try to innovate or find a niche or product that isn't saturated. Let me give you an example, Josh. Search arbitrage. Everybody wants to try search arbitrage, or wanted to try search arbitrage over the last years on native. And everybody was doing the big verticals, dental implants in the US. But everybody's doing those. You're going to be competing with everybody for a very finite amount of clicks on the Google Feed side and on the inventory side. And you're just probably, as a small affiliate, not going to be able to compete on the rev share side and have no experience on how to outcompete the big media buyers. I made a killing in Vietnam with Taboola and Outbrain. It was crazy. I mean, we had insane margined clicks targeting expats in Southeast Asia that wanted to learn the local language or that wanted to work from home or that were looking for whatever. And the payouts were good. The click prices were dirt cheap. And that was a very low hanging fruit in terms of, I would say, one of the highest minutes invested to dollars received as a return that I've had in a while. And this is just an example where a lot of people that want to succeed on native, especially smaller affiliates, should think outside of the box.
Yeah, it's so true. Affiliate marketers just ignore, everyone thinks that they're affiliates. A lot of affiliates are like, I'm going to run off to the US. And then some of them think they're creative and, crafty because they run a campaign in the UK or like Australia or Canada. And like, I talked about this a couple episodes ago. I had a campaign and it was in Trinidad and Tobago.
That's
and
crazy.
It did extremely well. My margins were insane until I like signed up the whole country, and then I couldn't make any money on it anymore.
You do hit
I hit a plateau, exactly, and that was a bummer. But it's I'd say native advertising or traditional search, whatever you're doing, international and like thinking outside of the box in terms of the countries you're targeting is like a huge opportunity. And you can kind of use the US as your like creative. You can use it for creative inspiration and then run these campaigns in other countries and just crush it. And people don't do it because it's definitely a bit more work. You got to translate stuff. If you're going to translate stuff, do not use Google Translate. Another thing, just a quick suggestion. But I love where your head's at because, like, I'm sure the traffic from Taboola in Vietnam was like next to nothing. Like the price.
It was so cheap. It was so cheap.
In the pennies, for sure.
By the way, Nadim, go ahead. I don't want to cut
you off. Go ahead, Josh.
I was just going to make a joke that it's not an affiliate marketing podcast episode without Harrison telling us about his Trinidad and Tobago campaign.
That's my new thing. I'm going to talk about Trinidad and Tobago every episode because I loved that campaign. Thank you, Josh.
What were you going to say, Nadim?
I think that it's just a matter of affiliate marketing is inherently difficult. And the reason that we've seen a lot of success over the last decades in the online space is because it's still relatively new. As an affiliate, you're relatively low in the value chain, right? There's a lot of people making money before you make a buck, and it's always about finding those arbitrage opportunities that where you can really make a lot of money as an affiliate. And it's not going to be those big campaigns that exist everywhere that have been running for 20 years. It's going to be the opportunities that are. I've been saying this for a while. Southern Europe is crazy cheap for the value of those clicks that you're able to buy there. I mean, you're paying maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 cents for a click in Spain and in Italy right now. Probably even less if you have some pretty direct offers or some pretty aggressive offers. And the people there, if you've looked at the Spanish or the Italian GDP, that's not little. and these are not low value clicks. You're reaching people with money, with purchasing power, and if you find the right offer, provider there, you can make a killing.
Can we dive into that real quick? Like, why do you think they are so cheap in Southern Europe?
They're underdeveloped. I mean, let me. When I started in Germany, 2017, everybody was telling me it's a waste of time. Literally, there's no money in the market. Focus on the UK and the US, and we were spending a lot of money back then on Facebook and on native in the US and the UK, especially in like insurance space, debt, and finance. These verticals still exist. Refi was a big thing back then, right? And I was like, guys, I see an opportunity in Germany to really scale. And our biggest campaign in 2019 was 1.4 million euros a month on insoles on Outbrain in Germany at 2019 margins. We're not talking 10%, right? That's ludicrous. And we've built our business around those success cases. Our biggest client right now in Germany spends 38 million a year with us. Wow. I mean, that's American money, right? That's US budgets. Though that's not small by any measure.
Agreed. So are you guys like a traditional agency, or like what is your business exactly? I'm not familiar, so I'm curious. What do you guys like do specifically?
Sounds good. Josh, I realized I didn't answer your question fully, but and then Harrison, I'll dive into that in a second. The market back then in 2017, 2018, 2019 in Germany was super underdeveloped. You had mainly arbitrage, content arb, there wasn't a lot of supply of high quality advertising, and not a lot of good offers. And that's kind of where some of those tier 2 developing markets are, including Spain, including France, including Italy, including Poland. These are markets that have an immense amount of potential, but there's just not that many advertisers with really good offers running there. And so if you find something good there, it's going to be an absolute blue ocean for the next couple of years. What we do, Harrison, is we started in the affiliate space. We've built our foundation. We're about 26 people right now, heading towards about 35 by the end of October. We were founded last year as an offshoot of an affiliate agency that I co-founded in 2020. And we have, like, our core is an agency. And the reason behind that is because I have a lot of industry contacts, a lot of brands that people work with for a while that trust us and give us a lot of budget to deliver performance for them at scale in different markets. Our home market is Germany, but we've been doing a lot in the US this year. We're running the biggest Taboola account in the world right now. Sits under one of my buyers I'm running in the US predominantly, and we're building out different branches. So we have an agency. We have an educational platform called the Native Hub, which isn't meant to make any money. I've always been pushing my team to essentially reinvest every penny that comes out. It's a $100 subscription. It's more of a marketing, a positioning tool than anything else, just to get us out there to attract attention to Native and to find the right people that we want to work with. And then we are running affiliate offers, but opportunistic. So when we see something, we run it, and we have a search arb division.
So, Nadim, you've mentioned a couple times already Taboola and Outbrain, and I kind of want to dive into, the relationship between Zevio and those two companies. And also, if you can, like, for any audience members watching this that aren't exactly hip to Taboola and Outbrain and how they operate, just a quick overview on how that works. Because I know Taboola alone, reaches like 600 million daily active users. Outbrain 1.3 billion monthly. By the way, I got those stats from your team, not myself, so thank you. But if you could kind of just dive into each of them, how they work, and a little bit more on how you kind of cooperate with them. Because I know you mentioned before we started this episode, like, you're speaking in Prague at the Affiliate World show, and possibly or most likely on behalf of Taboola. I'm assuming that's all from your amazing relationship with them. So how do those all fit together?
We've been working with Taboola Outbrain and more Baidu, MGID, and Rev Content over the last years because they all essentially offer a very similar product and packaged in a different way. So native ads, you need to think about it as it's not a particularly large slice or cake, right? If you compare it to Google or Facebook, it's probably the size of like a muffin. But we're still talking billions and billions of dollars in ad spend a year. So a healthy muffin, it's a muffin that's worth investing into.
It's a chocolate chip muffin.
Exactly, a double chocolate chip. There we go.
Yeah. Okay.
with that type of guy, Harrison. But we have so they all serve these type of placements. Some of them are in an open auction. So MSN, for example, will essentially the highest bidder takes a slot. Whereas Taboola and Outbrain often have exclusive relationships with partners. So CNN's on Outbrain. Fox News used to be with Taboola, then was flipping, going Outbrain, and every couple of years they'll switch back for better deals with the different networks. So my pitch to these networks is that I'm not here to choose who to work with. I'm here to make the most out of the budgets that we have and spend them everywhere. And so we work with competing companies. I mean, Taboola and Outbrain are competitors in the truest of form, to saturate our clients and the budgets that we have by each channel. Some projects might perform better on Outbrain than on Taboola, and vice versa, depending on the niche, the vertical, the geo. And we make sure to maximize the efficiency of every dollar that we spend across the different channels. So I say that we're probably the most agnostic agency in the world when it comes to spending money. Of course, we work very closely with these different networks. And we've seen, I mean, Baidu has been doing an incredible job at developing their platform and taking a lot of the media buying off your hands. In essence, all of these networks, what they do is they offer mid-article or below the article placements on a real-time auction basis. So it's on a CPM basis. They won't show you that it's on a CPM basis. It'll always be on a CPC basis. But behind the scenes, they're trying to maximize the cost or the revenue per 1,000 users on the page for that publisher, because they get a chunk of that revenue from the publisher. And so, in essence, if you find something that works well on one of these networks and you're hitting, capacity or you're hitting constraints, so Harrison, you want to spend more money, but you've saturated Taboola, it's a no-brainer to just start spamming the same piece of content, maybe adjusted slightly for the platform onto these different platforms, and then really spread out your scale. And you'll just have a much better, longer, happier journey as an affiliate doing that.
Sure.
Did I answer your question, Josh?
Oh yeah, 100%. Something that always interests me, especially in this industry, is like creative and the production of the content itself. I'm curious, in your personal opinion, what do you feel like kind of works best when it comes to those things, especially with the focus being on native ads? And then also, want a two-part question, second part being like the ad variation process. Our co-host Adam, who's not here today, he's been promoting his book, and he talks about making, thousands of variations to his advertisements promoting the book and the landing page. So what creative do you find kind of yields the most engagement and the best results with native, and how much variation do you typically try to test?
You'd be surprised how simple native is, and you'd be surprised how easy it is to mess it up and get it wrong. In essence, you need to have a catchy image that stops people from scrolling. I always say that probably the best native ad in the world is going to be a very provocative looking female with a stop sign. And then a headline that filters the click. So if you want to reach people that, I always say that example, men between 40 and 60 that have issues with their teeth, you'd have a picture of someone with either very nice teeth or not very nice teeth in that age bracket. And then you'd have a headline that says, and remember, the goal is really only to catch your attention. And then the headline that says born between XYZ, or are you 40 to 60 struggling with bad teeth? Click here. That's essentially your filter process on native. You need to have an image that generates a high enough engagement or gets your eyes to stop scrolling on the feed. If you look at a lot of the feeds, they're just packed with stuff. And so in order to get attention, you need to have something that sticks out. So that's why you often have images that are a little bit, they have a question mark next to them. You're like, what am I looking at? One of these famous images from I think it was Gundry MD, just had like a squished banana on a surface for one of their health products. And it just catches attention because you see it and you're like, what? And then you read the headline, you get interested, engaged, click, and then you read the content. The ad,
or
nowadays,
a foot with like blisters all over it.
cucumber on a foot. You're like, what am I looking at? What is this image? Oftentimes, policy will be the limit of what you can do there. That's the truth, right? I think that if there was no policy, we'd be seeing a lot crazier stuff on native ads. But obviously, publishers put pressure on Taboola, Outbrain, Baidu, MGID, Rev Content to kind of moderate the type of stuff that's on the network, and they do it to different varying degrees. But we've actually had a lot of success with really playing around with content. So we've tested over the last 4 years, 3.5 years, more than 10,000 unique landing pages, and that's mostly pre-AI. So talking about people there,
When I
uploading.
ran, and I guess I think you just answered this, but I just want to clarify. So when I ran some native campaigns, I've done it. I've ran offers. I've ran like Nutra stuff. This is years and years ago. When I literally just pulled up a news site. I'm getting video played. Hold on, because I wanted to see the. Hold on. Okay, so this is to help me with my question. So I would run ads with we'd probably run the same ad text and like try 30 to 50 images. And I think I focused more on split testing images versus text for high CTR. But I would say, do you think that you should equally split test the text too? Or do you think prioritizing the photos is good?
I think that definitely we always test 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 3, something like that. So you always try to test an equal amount. And we'll typically do iterations. I talk quite a lot about this in the hub in terms of how our testing methodology works. With AI, creating images that are really weird and interesting looking, in a politically correct sense, provocative is quite easy. I can tell you,
And I
Germany.
would say you're not wrong. I mean, multiple images here are I wouldn't say they're like provocative, but they have like beautiful women in them. One's holding up an ID for car insurance. Another one is a girl standing in front of an Amazon truck, and it says
Harrison, it catches your attention, and that's the purpose of the ad. An image in native isn't meant to sell you
the
anything.
crazy snake that looks like it's not real.
It's just meant to get your attention.
Now.
And then the headline's going to be something like, Prime users can get this benefit or whatever, and that's meant to get you to generate that click. But we've actually found by using content, we are able to be a lot broader in the ad. So think about it as a net. The bigger your net and the smaller the holes in your net, the more you're going to fish out, the more bycatch you're going to have. It's the same with native.
When I bought traffic on native sites and I tried to like whitelist or build a blacklist of sites that I didn't like the traffic from, it was interesting because I had a campaign. Let's just say I was spending $1,000, and let's say that I got $250 a day from CNN and $250 a day from Fox News, and then the rest came from like random like smaller sites. Let's just call them lower quality publications. And then I made a campaign and said, hey, I only want traffic from these big news sites. The issue I ran into is I got no traffic, or it drastically increased the price. Even though I had like good CTRs, like the numbers were good. And like I was always wondering, like, was this just the the Taboolas, the Outbrains, the Rev Contents of the world, content.ad, whatever, I was using a bunch of them. Was that them just like making me pay for getting what I wanted?
Harrison, they don't make money off these sites. So the big networks are probably not super profitable, if at all profitable, on these really big sites that everybody wants. And in order for
Is that
them
because they had super strong rev share deals? They essentially break
super
even.
strong rev share deals. They have whatever deals, guarantees. Like there's a million different models here, and each network will work a bit differently. But their goal is to make a product that works with a long tail. And honestly, there's been phases where we've run whitelists and pretty small ones. I remember like 2020, MSN only was the way to go. Even 2022.
Oh yeah, for what, Nutra?
Oh, everything. Doesn't matter what you were selling. It was
I wasn't
just
running
MSN
Nutra in 2020, but I had friends that were like telling me about it, and like literally, there was some people that had like deals to, to buy it directly from them, and like that was the best spot on the internet at one point.
It was just the most incredibly profitable. We had for Capital One Shopping back in 2022 with my old company. I think it was 74K a day on an MSN only campaign on Taboola, and it was just killing it. It was just flying. It was insane. And obviously those days have passed. So MSN only isn't what it used to be. It's still really good, but publishers don't have an interest in pushing a very small list of publishers because or networks don't have an interest in pushing a small list of publishers, and they have a much bigger interest in building a product that performs across the board. And what we've been seeing since the last year and a half, is that long tail is insanely profitable right now if done right. So we're running no whitelist, maybe excluding push and lock screen traffic if you're running ecom on Taboola, and it's working like a charm. I mean, we've had a set of campaigns on Taboola at above 50K a day for the last 90 days. and rolling. Like it's working, and the long tail list is performing exceptionally well. You won't be able to get as much traffic on it, so you're not going to be able to buy, I don't know, 10K off of some small site, some small local news site, but they can perform really well. So my recommendation right now would be don't try to doctor the sites. Work with the algo, work with what these networks are trying to do. It is just going to be an easier way than trying to fight the stream and cherry pick your publishers.
Nadim, I'm assuming the answer is a lot based on the URL ending in .ai. But when it comes to the content and creative creation, like, what's the split in terms of you guys and how you create it with AI or in-house, with a good old-fashioned graphic designer? I see, I'm getting corrected, Zevio.io.
Don't worry, Josh. Honestly, the AI domain was just too expensive last year. I really wanted to buy xev.io, but it was like 54 grand, and I was like, I'm not going to spend the type of money.
Zevio.io. Let's get that clear, everybody. Zevio.io. But I guess the question still stands, when it comes to the creation of your creatives, how much of it is coming from AI platforms and how much is coming from human beings?
So it's a bit ridiculous how effective I think the creative team. So we have a whole division that we've divided up everything. So back in the day, you used to have a media buyer that did everything. Now it's divided into you have a creative team, you have a content team, you have a tech team, you have a CRO team, and a media buying team. And they've become incredibly efficient, especially on native now with images and videos in creating stuff. So either directly in the platform's interface. Taboola, for example, has an option just to type in prompts and generate stuff, but mainly using things like Midjourney. It's just been insane how realistic and how effective some of these ads can get. One of our top ads right now in Germany is a solar panel on fire with a meteor storm behind it for solar.
Love that.
I don't even know how to explain the logic of why that works, but it's working really well because it's so out there and it catches people's attention and the headline brings the user in. On the content side itself, it's been a bit of a hit and miss. We haven't had an AI page beat a non-AI page yet. So like a page written by a human hasn't been beaten by a page exclusively written by AI. But oftentimes the spark of innovation or the ideas will be fed into AI, and AI will help speed up the process of generating output that's then edited by humans. And so I think that if you're looking for like a very quick and easy way to create content, use AI, but then run over it a few times, reread it, rewrite it, restructure the sentences so they're a little bit easier.
You just took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say, and I'm not running any native campaigns. I'm not running any campaigns today, but I've gotten emails that are clearly like from ChatGPT, and I'll just say this: if you're trying to sell me something, don't do that. Like,
no.
Use it and then rewrite it. Make it sound like a human wrote it. And consumers are people. We're all people here. So do that same thing with your landing page, because like the landing page that looks like, that like just outlines the bullet points from the landing page of the offer you're promoting. Like clearly ChatGPT just picked, a couple highlights and threw it in a paragraph. It's like vomiting up. It's like regurgitating a landing page. So it's like,
and it doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
No.
Like it won't convert. You'll be paying a lot. The CTR will be poor, and people will notice something's off. That's the truth. But we've actually seen an insane amount of success translating, because we have an English and a German content team. We run offers in Spain, in France, in Poland. Writing, like having a ChatGPT translate documents is crazy. We did a test in France where we hired professional translators, and then we ran our top German landing page through ChatGPT, or DeepL actually, which is ironically a German Google Translate competitor. Insane results. You can upload a document on DeepL or just paste it into ChatGPT. Better than the translation service, and it costs essentially nothing. I'd always recommend a human read through it, like a native person that speaks the language. But if you don't have that, it's better than just trying to wing something together. Or yeah, we've had a lot of success writing in the language that we speak, so English or German, and then translating it by AI. That's worked surprisingly well, because I didn't think it would work. I thought people are going to notice. No, it beat the translation service in France.
Zevio.
I don't know if that's a testament to AI or how bad the translation service was. Go ahead, Josh.
Zevio.io, Zevio.io. Let's just make sure everyone is aware of the .io. I'm curious, on the solar panel on fire with meteors, flying behind it, I believe you
In the
said. Do you
background, exactly.
yeah, do you take something like that and say, all right, well, let's try it for roofing, and all of a sudden it's a roof on fire with meteors in the background. And do you find that you get similar results, or it's really the perfect equation, solar panel fire meteors, like, or do you see a little bit
Honestly,
of
Stomach on fire, weight loss.
exactly. Literally, just I mean, the funny thing is that the style of ads will work in that country, but it won't work in other countries. So, for example, if you could just compare Germany and the U.S., you need to be a lot more serious in the US than you do in Germany. In Germany, you can have like arrows and highlight things, and they'll perform. In the US, it'll scare people off. And some of the best creatives that we've ever had work for us in the US are just people in front of things. Like Harrison, a picture you had, we had I remember when this was back in 2018. Some guy was spending $1 million a month on Taboola on a listicle, a senior listicle, with just a person, and I think it was a Costco in the background. Just an old man standing in front of a Costco. There was nothing else in the image. It was just an old man in a Costco, and it just worked because Costco was a brand that just attracted, like, people recognized it. They were like, "Oh, this is something about Costco. Let me look at what they're trying to say here in this obviously not an ad article." They'll click it, and then they'll go to the product page, and it works. In Germany, something like that would never work. You need to be a lot more flashy, play with colors. We play with maps that are multicolored, to show different hotspots of solar, or for real estate was a big thing here. That wouldn't work in the US. We've tried it, didn't we?
yeah. Something I read on your website that really caught my attention, the average buyer at Zevio.io has managed over 50 million in native ad spend. I'm curious, do you think Zevio is going out of their way to find that, or do you think people are going out of their way to find Zevio?
We've been very fortunate that we never really need to sell. So when we first started the agency, it was more that we had projects that were asking for it. So we were like, okay, well, fine, we'll work on a retainer instead of a fixed CPL. Um, we do have sales now. Andre is more business development than sales, because it's more about filtering what comes in than really actively looking for anything. But I do think that we work closely with Taboola, with Outbrain, with MJD, Ref Content, Baidu, to find the opportunities where we're like, this has just 10x more potential than they're currently using. And the networks will work with us to bring us in when they feel like there's an opportunity for us to extract. I mean, they've seen it now dozens of times. If they introduce us to the right player at the right time, we'll scale.
I'm
So
sure you've
I think
already,
it's a mixture. I think
yeah,
it's a mixture of both.
I'm sure you've already covered this in the episode, but just to kind of consolidate it right here, let's say I'm new to native ads, right? I don't know where to get started. What's the biggest piece of advice you would tell me in terms of where I should focus my efforts, budget, and time?
So if I was, I don't know, I'm an American right now and I wanted to try native ads, there's a couple of ways to get started. I wouldn't recommend running a $20 campaign on your own budget. It's just never going to work. There's too many moving pieces and you're not going to learn anything. So join a team, or get out there and meet with people that are spending, and see if you can work with them, or join a company. I mean, some of the most interesting native spenders right now in the US are brands. And there's people in the teams or the agencies that work with those teams managing those really cool campaigns. So start there. If you are an affiliate, especially if you're an affiliate that has a lot of experience on other channels, native isn't going to be that difficult. You just need to choose the right time, the right place, and the right product. Typically, if you see something scaling, it's already too late to get into it. So I see a lot of people that are like, oh, but these guys are scaling auto insurance. I'm like, yeah, but they're also spending 50K a day, and they're destroying every ad you throw into the feed because they're just already there. They're grandfathered in. Taboola, Outbrain, they know that these players will take those slots, so they'll serve it to them before you even enter the auction. And it's very difficult to compete with these big whales. So find smaller niches. Search arbitrage is a good place to start because it's relatively inexpensive. It's just very difficult to make money there right now, right? But if you're diligent, if you can find niches, if you're fine working hard to make a dollar, it can be very profitable. I mean, there's guys spending 5-6K a day on Taboola, and we're not talking big organization, not big established players that are making $1,000 a day in profit. But it was a journey getting there. It's not something that'll happen overnight. And so, if you want to start, get informed, talk to the right people. Don't pay for ridiculous. There's some things out there that are just way overpriced. There's a lot of information that you can get relatively inexpensively or for free. Attend conferences, attend masterminds, look at webinars, whatever. And then if you're not sure about starting, talk to your AM. All of the AMs have a huge pool of information that they can share with their advertisers on what they think is good or not. And so before I would start anything today, I'd talk to an account manager, be it at Taboola, Outbrain, Baidu, Ref Content, MediaGo. It doesn't matter. Talk to somebody because they don't want to waste their time on you if your product is crap, and they'll tell you.
So on the flip side, I guess you kind of answered it. Like, if you see something that's killing it already, don't jump into that. It's too late.
Or try it somewhere else.
Or try it somewhere else. But
exactly.
To go a little further, what do you think are some of the biggest mistakes outside of that you see people making with native ads that you highly recommend they stay away from?
So there's the platforms themselves have a couple of pitfalls. So, I mean, what Harrison was saying, when you're trying to whitelist in an environment that doesn't allow it right now, you're just going to get your ass handed to you. It's just not going to work.
Because I'm assuming essentially their systems are not built for that.
Exactly.
They want you to run of network, and I'm not going to call one network out, but like I ran a content site like years ago when people made like celebrity sites and stuff. I had a site, Celeb Wild. It was terrible. We made no money on it, but I tried because I do some friends killing it with like content arb. I had Taboola tags on the site. So I was a publisher and an advertiser. I bought from all these networks, and our metric, our way to track ROI was like Google Analytics, like seeing the average page views. So because we were making CPM ads, so I was looking for page views and average time on site. And you'd get clicks from some sites, maybe others like CMZ. I get traffic from TMZ. It's like gold. I had those like I don't even remember what they're called. Wow, like where you click through, it's like the 25
sliders,
hottest whatever, or cool cars that are owned by celebrity or whatever it was, or 25 celebrities that got married under 20 or whatever it is. And you click through it, and I'd have a campaign that gets 22 page views per click on average from like one source, and then you'd see these. It's like broad, like you get like 8 seconds on the page, 1.3 page views per click, and I'm like, I paid 21 cents for this click, like I clearly lost money here. And then, like I said, I tried to whitelist with all of the native networks, and then it's like I spent $4, or I spent, instead of 15 to 20 cents a click, 63 cents a click, and I'm like, oh, like I'm promoting celebrity news, like I can't make it. I'm not selling life insurance annuities. It doesn't work. So, I think it's one of the. I didn't think about it like this. Those sites are just like brand. They want those logos on their homepage to say, look, we got CNBC and Fox and Yahoo, Apple News, and this CBS,
and it performs. I mean, they perform. Don't get me wrong, but they're not going to. Advertisers aren't going to pay triple the CPM to get on those sites, because then they're not going to be profitable. So true. I think that it's just understanding how the platforms work, and there's a ton. I mean, that's kind of what we're trying to do now, is we're almost as a service to these networks. It's why we have a Taboola, an Outbrain, an MJD, and a Baidu, and a Ref Content section on the hub, is that we want to explain how these platforms work and how to differentiate your approach to these platforms. And we're doing this as a service to the industry and to these players. Again, we're not going to make any money with this thing at all. The only reason we're doing it is positioning, so that when we find a big whale of an advertiser that has a ton of potential, we're the first people they think about. And also working closer with the native networks to kind of streamline their sales process and make it easier for people to be successful.
So when you manage these relationships, do you sometimes have clients that have a product, like they're an advertiser and they're not even doing any native ads, and then you essentially get them live on Taboola or Outbrain or whatever, manage the relationship, and you kind of handle all of it. So it's almost like a white glove service. Like if I don't have internal media buyers, but I want to run native ads, you guys take care of it. And you guys only
need to be quite big.
Then?
So we actually won the TikTok Performance Award last year in Germany, because one of our biggest native clients, 38 million in a year one, came to us and was like, we want to do social. So we have 10 people now in an in-house studio. We film, it's 16 hours a week. We have people in our studio filming, and like models coming in and doing stuff. So we do more than native, but it's as a byproduct of our success on native. So the relationships that we've built, the trust that we've been able to garner with native, it makes sense at some point to start doing more for them, especially if they want us to do more. And applying a lot of the learnings that we've seen on native to broad campaigns on Facebook has been incredibly profitable. If it works on native, it will work on Facebook. Policy alone. That's my statement. Because Facebook has the same broad audience, if you want it to be broad, with an AI, with an algorithm that really lets you hone in on the right users. So if it's a product that Facebook allows you to run and is happy with you running, you're not going to get the banhammer running after you.
Sure.
It's a no-brainer to take what's working on native and run it on Facebook. And sometimes even they'll take the images that are working on native and just slap them into Facebook, and they work. So we do more than native, but native is our calling card for sure. It's where I think we have the biggest competitive advantage. How many agencies do Facebook? How many agencies do TikTok? How many do that well plus native? Very few.
Nadim, this is something super interesting. The native ads panel coming up at Affiliate Summit East in New York City. I'll be there representing OfferVault. Harrison and his business partner Adam will be there representing Ringba. I know you guys will be there as well, along with a bunch of these other native ad networks we've been discussing. Tell us a little bit about the panel, why it's so special, and why people at the show should definitely find time to make sure they check it out.
It's the first time. So first of all, thank you, Josh. This is Andre's creation, who unfortunately can't be here because he has no voice. He got sick, and
he was yelling. He was yelling all week about how excited he was to come on the show.
Exactly.
And then he lost his voice. Yeah.
He's somewhere nice and warm. I think he's in Bulgaria right now. So shout out to Andre here. I hope your voice is back by the time you see this. But he's been really. Our whole vision here is that we're not really competitors. So these networks, they're competitors on the publisher side, while on the advertiser side, they're not. And so our goal is to bring spend over from search and social into native, not to steal or push native spend between the different traffic. That's not the point.
Sure.
It's a small amount of the pie. There's a much bigger pie outside of the native world. So after a lot of convincing, I think it was like a 6-month process, we finally got this is the first time this is happening ever, all of the competing native networks together on a panel, not to take each other apart, but to explain the benefits of native as a whole to people not spending on native, and to really bring in, especially. I mean, I think I'm really excited about it because it's the first step in essentially creating this unified front to bring and attract attention to native. Because how much money, if you look at back to this cupcake that we have in native, it isn't very big if you compare it to what Facebook and Google are doing in revenue. But we've been able to consistently outcompete both Google and Facebook, and I'm talking branded Google search here, with campaigns on Taboola and Outbrain. I mean, that's crazy if you're able to have on a cold audience a better ROI than on branded Google search. And it just goes to show the power of the engagement that native brings. People are reading, and they're spending time reading, and they're engaging with your article, and they're warm by the time that they click out from your article, from your landing page to your product page. Warm to the point where they're warmer than branded Google search.
Nadim, correct me on this. I just found this on the Outbrain website, but the panel is July 29th, 4 p.m. at Affiliate Summit East.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, if you are an amazing brand or a media buyer, make sure you definitely check out Zevio.io. Nadim, thanks so much for joining us on the Affiliate Marketing Show. I am Josh from OfferVault.com. We have the industry legend Harrison Gevirtz, as well as Nadim Kuttab, co-founder of Zevio.io. Let's make that paper. Let's make that dough. This was the Affiliate Marketing Show. We will see you next time.